And welcome to the Baking Chin, the show that tries to show that baking is fun, easy, and I think rather appealing. So today, I guess it's a long time no see. If you've wondered where I've been, I've actually been working for a bakery, so I don't always get to bake for myself. But when I do bake for myself, I like to make something rather perhaps easier than some of the recipes we've made on this channel, and something very comforting. So today we're going to make something very special for me, which is white bread, which is perfect for sandwiches or toast and the like, or something just nice to eat on itself. And I think for any American, or any North American for that matter, it's a rather nostalgic thing to eat. Something that really harkens back to childhood, and it's something very pleasant and comforting. And sometimes when you're alone and you want baked goods, I would say you want something very pleasant and comforting to put inside you, if you get my drift. And by drift, I of course mean white bread. So let's get started.
For this recipe, you will need 500 grams of strong white flour, 50 grams of sugar, 10 grams of salt, 30 grams of milk powder, 7 grams of instant yeast, or that's about 1 sachet or packet, 50 grams of butter, and 400 milliliters of warm water. Something to note is that I'm using a stand mixer for this recipe, which makes the work a little easier. Also, I am using the paddle attachment, as this is a very wet dough. You can also knead this by hand, but you might want to decrease the water by 50 milliliters or so to make it easier. Now mix together the flour and yeast and all the dry ingredients into the bowl of the mixer. Add the water and start mixing at about medium speed. When all is incorporated, turn the speed up slightly. You might want to scrape the sides out once or twice to make sure everything is evenly incorporated. As you can see, the dough is already gaining gluten. Add the butter at this stage. Now, turn the mixer up to medium-high and mix until the gluten is very strong. You can see that the dough is still very wet, but it will stretch completely out of the bowl. Now, fold it a bit and put it in a well-greased bowl. Now, I've used vegetable oil as my grease, but as always, you can use the lubrication of your choice. Cover and let sit for about an hour in a warm place or until doubled. Place on a floured surface and fold into threes, and then into threes again. Let this rest for about 10 minutes, and then fold it into threes again, making a rough rectangle, and then seal the ends. Place into a greased loaf tin, seam side down. Now I'm using a Pullman pan, so I want it to rise until it just almost reaches the top before adding the cover. And the Pullman pan will make it so I have a perfectly rectangular loaf. But if you're not into perfect rectangles, then and you're not using a Pullman pan, then just let it rise until it's fully doubled. Now bake at 400 degrees F for about 30 minutes or so, and if you're using a Pullman pan as I am, take the lid off about 20 minutes before it's done baking. A skewer should come out clean, and it should make a hollow thump when ready.
So here's the finished white bread, and as you can see it has a very nice caramel color, and also it's very perfectly rectangular thanks to the Pullman box we use, but that's of course completely optional. And it also smells very comforting, which is exactly what we're going for. So let's give this a bit of a try. That is very, very good, I would say, and awfully, awfully comforting, which is what we were going for. And as you can see, this bread has a very close crumb structure, which is very nice for this kind of bread, because you can make sandwiches and none of the insides will leak out. And I will say sometimes with some things you don't want things to leak out. It's a little richer than some breads because of the butter, but not as rich as I would say a pain de mie or a brioche. So it's a very nice balanced bread, and as we mentioned, very quick and very nice to put in your mouth. And that's how to make a white bread, or at least my version of white bread. And I'd also like to mention that after you've mastered a recipe like this, you could make this with part whole wheat, part rye, or you could even put some raisins or currants or some sort of seed in this. But I like the original, the pristine white bread for the pristine white bread experience. And also, if you'd like to preserve this, unlike with some so-called artisan loaves, I would say you should wrap this up with plastic wrap or cling film, or put it in a bread box or something to make sure that it's covered and it stays very nice and moist and spongy. And I would say this lasts for about 4 days or so. And even after the 4 days, you could use this for bread pudding or French toast or whatever you like. I would say the possibilities are endless with white bread. So, thanks very much for joining me today on the Baking Chin. My name is Ian Chin, and as always I wish you happy baking.
I know you belong to somebody new, but tonight you belong to me. Although we're apart, you're apart.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake, I'll bake the cake.